Hi, good afternoon, everybody. Delighted to be here chairing the first academic board of Ethical Angel. I'm joined by Paul, the chairman of the board of directors of the company, as well as Rosemary, Paula here, and Donna. My name is Kostas. My background is in financial services, but I'm now an executive coach and delighted to be a part of an effort to really combine learning and development with good causes. So perhaps with that, I can kick off the questioning and ask each of you what inspired you to join the academic board of Ethical Angel. Who would like to start first? Paula.
I'm happy to. To be perfectly honest, it was Alex. And Alex's passion when I was talking to him, just how enthusiastic he was about the future, the direction of Ethical Angel. And that combination of business and corporate social responsibility plays a passion to my heart as well. So, you know, in your personal values and the company values and everything around you sort of fits, I was like, he drew me in.
It's great to hear. Donna?
Very much similar, to be fair. I moved from consulting to work for the company I do now just because of the values of the organisation. And very similar, a call with Alex, finding out what EA was all about and the aspiration. So really excited.
And Rosemary, you're the key participant from the charity side. What is it that you think we at Ethical Angel can do better that caused you to be drawn to this opportunity?
I think the opportunity to be part of a company that is trying to do that such delicate operation of bringing together the corporate side and the charity sector. Both sides don't necessarily talk the same language. Sometimes it's very difficult to be understood. And I think that Alex's approach and Ethical Angel's approach is correct. I think they're offering things of real value to the sector. And you know, nobody wants another volunteering team to come in and repaint your community centre again. This is stuff that charities can really use. And so when Alex approached me, I felt like it was the first tangible, really solid offer that I'd seen for the sector, and I wanted to do what I could to help.
It's great to hear and delighted to have you on board. I guess the challenge for all of us is how do we create a clear nexus, right, between the learning and development opportunities the corporates see in their people and projects for good causes that have an impact on the causes as well as the people helping out. What do you think our biggest challenge in finding that connection is? Because I guess we're all sort of here because it hasn't really been done effectively before. So the question really perhaps for Paul as well is, why hasn't it been done effectively before? And why do we think collectively there's a massive opportunity here to really bridge that gap?
I think it is relatively complex because you are trying to match a whole load of different needs that you've identified in the corporate sector in terms of learning and experiential learning. But you are trying to match that with charities. And you're actually saying to charities, look, we're bringing professional expertise. But if that's to do with, for example, branding, website, these kind of more professional, this is not painting a community centre. It's something much more, in one sense, much more important. So I think getting that right and getting the right people connected with the right charities and establishing a level of trust, that's got to be really important, because I was talking to the board the other day and saying we need to be able to do this multiple times, and we need to build up trust and understanding between the two sectors, and in many cases that's not there, but I do believe we can do that just with the amount of support and positive comments we've had from both sides, corporate and charity sector.
That's great to hear. And trust, as I know as a coach and as others know as a coach, is at the foundation of any successful results-oriented operation. So if we can't build trust between both sides of the platform, then we won't succeed. I guess the other challenge around learning and development for the experts here, I'm not the expert, is around how do you quantify progress? You know, the biggest challenges I've seen, I've been subjected to a lot of learning and development and probably haven't learned or developed sufficiently well. But how do you quantify the impact that helping a good cause has on the individual leaders in a way that the corporates understand and perhaps in a way that the charities might understand? I mean, that's the hardest thing for me to at least identify for my own personal development. And as a coach, often you're asked to quantify progress and it's quite intangible. So if we're going to convince both sides that we add value and we're going to build trust, how do we manage the reflection of progress, both for the corporate and for the cause?
For me personally, I tend to look at the individual, so the impact on the individual themselves. So that could be through the individual's line manager's observation. So how's their behaviour changed? What's their attitude? Has their knowledge changed, their understanding? Can they apply the new knowledge that they've just learnt? And then can they actually coach someone else? So those tend to be my 3 measures as an individual. I think for a team itself, it's about how the team then, in this current climate, bonds together and has that team relationship. And if that team's successful, so all the personal skills, the technical skills, are they putting them into practice? So if I take something really tangible, and it might have been around influencing skills or negotiation skills or something along that, then have they been able to negotiate a better margin, for instance? So it becomes, the return on investment becomes really measurable. You've got the benchmark, and then you can see the gap and you can see the progress. And the same for the organisation then. So is the organisation looking future forward? The strategy, have they built it? Are they looking at not necessarily a 5-year plan, because I don't think many companies do that these days, but have they got a plan for the next 3 months, 6 months? And what does that look like? And that impacts back to the individual in the team.
That makes sense. Don, anything to add to that?
Yeah, I'd go one step further than that. I think that any kind of learning or any engagement that's linked to learning should be linked, like you said, to a business strategy. Whether it's looking at future skills and you're able to measure the learning against that, are they learning their skill much faster, whatever it may be. I think there's also a piece of it, for example, if you look at coaching, I've looked at a cohort of people that have gone through coaching and haven't, and noticed the increase in sales because they're asking questions differently. So I think we need to challenge ourselves as individuals. What can we measure? Yeah, it's always a little bit of a finger in the air, but there's always something that's going right back to what is the objective and what is it that we're trying to achieve.
That makes sense. And Rosemary, from your perspective on the causes side, how is it that we as a platform effectively can convince them that we're providing the right people and matching them in the right way, in a way that resonates beyond what's currently out there?
I think that with the opportunity to have really skilled people coming in to actually look at what a charity is doing, that's one part. That's the sort of the technical expertise. It's almost a gift from one party to the other. But I think for the corporates, for their teams to be able to come and experience something completely different, come and meet really passionate people who will knock your socks off. They probably haven't got a degree. They've been running this group since they were, 15 years old as a volunteer, and now they're running the whole thing, and they fight like hell for their particular group of people that they're looking after. For that experience and that exposure to be brought to what can be quite a sterile corporate environment will make a difference. It will bring passion and understanding and the ability to communicate, I think.
That's great to hear. What do you think our purpose, I guess, as an academic board is to sort of feed in practical suggestions for how the product can be developed in order to both resonate with the corporates, but also be understood really, right, by the causes as something that's additive and differentiated from what they've had before. What do we think are the biggest challenges that we're going to face bridging that gap, not only bridging that gap, but actually addressing 2 very different stakeholders?
I'd say time is a big thing at the moment.
Time in what sense?
Time as in, so if I've got my corporate hat on and everyone's so busy trying to achieve results internally, I'm just thinking of the current company I'm in. There's a lot of work, there's a lot of volume, really good information to help the rest of either your colleagues or the clients that we have ourselves. So therefore time is precious. And I think something about, actually to your point, is making time to look outside your own box and what else could you help with, so a charity, whoever it is.
It's exactly the same for the charity as well, but the charity has that compounded by capacity, because they probably don't have enough people to do what they need to do, and so to actually to be able to spare the time to go away and reflect on what you really need to take your charity forward, that capacity issue is always going to be there. So I think what we have to do is to make this as easy as possible for the charities to actually get their head around and to think, do I need this? And often it might well be reaching out to the trustees of that organisation who know that there's a resource there, because the trustees probably have a bit more time to reflect and think, how could we best use this offer?
So I guess bringing that all together, Paul, as an early investor and the chair of the board of the business, what does success in your mind look like for Ethical Angel? What 3, 4, 5 years from now, what will we look like as a group, as an organisation, if we've achieved these objectives, which are really marrying the opportunity to learn and develop on the one hand and to do good on the other?
Well, I'd want to see us working with a number of blue chips, large blue chips, numerous blue chips beyond the UK. Although blue chips we're working with at the moment, in fact, you have employees all over the world, some of them. But to see us working with those and then to be able to say, we've changed as a result of working with Ethical Angel, particularly through their HR and training departments, but also large charities, particularly large charities, because I think we'd probably bring more at large charity level. Not to say we wouldn't be, we're not operating with a whole range of charities, but that charities are so used to using Ethical Angel, it'll be something regular that they're wanting and asking for because they've done it before. So cemented relationships and. I'd just love to see that relationship, the relationship between the corporate and charity sector that so frustrated me years ago and still does, having been involved in both sides, business and the charity sector, to see that changing. It's a big vision, but I do believe we can do that. And I do, just the feedback we've had at the moment from so many in the corporate and charity sector saying, yes, this is what we need. So I want to see that happen, and we're part of that change, a key part of that change in that relationship.
That's a really exciting vision. That's why we're all here. And personally, guys, what is it that success looks like for each of you if we've contributed to this effort? I'm happy to kick it off, by the way, because I've said very little and asked lots of questions. I want to learn and develop as a human being, and I think that having been subjected to L&D programs in many large corporates, financial services, legal and otherwise, it's very rare that they are meaningful beyond the immediate training ask or training need that is being offered to me. So having become an executive coach and having seen the progress one can make one-on-one with people, the opportunity to make organizational progress and behavioral change through doing good things, for me, is really exciting. So if I personally feel I've had even a small part in the journey towards making that progress, I'll feel personally rewarded. So I've gone first. Who would like to go next? How will you feel if we've added some value to this journey individually?
I think similar, to be fair. One is where I can learn and grow as an individual. That's really important. I think if you're in learning and development and you're not, you should be asking yourself questions, right? But I think the other part of it is I think the thing is with learning and development, there's so much of it, but do we really know that we're adding value? Yeah. So I think if we can actually show a way that we're adding value to our people, to our organisation, that's just great, right? So if there's two things for me, so personal gain, and then also actually seeing what difference we can make.
Thank you. Yilmaz?
From my point of view, I used to work in the corporate sector, so it's nice for me to have a little bit of a toe back in that. But equally, I would very much like to see just the organisations in my own network taking advantage of Ethical Angel's offering so they can really achieve the things that they need to do. That to me, success through others is what success looks like to me. If my members can get their branding redone or get their HR looked at or get their IT looked at or whatever through Ethical Angel, that would be really good for me.
Success through others. I love that. Thank you.
For me, it's a personal challenge. And similar to what you've said already about that personal growth, and I like a challenge, most definitely. I get really passionate about wanting to help others. And with the Ethical Angel, I just think it's a game changer. I just think, why wouldn't you get that link, that combination together and make a difference? Particularly what's happened over the last few years, just make a difference. Let's progress and help each other.
Love that. Thank you, guys. With that, I'll wrap it up and see you soon.